I'm JD.
I'm Howdy.
From Howdy and the Beast! What the hell?
I'm Howdy.
So normally whenever you get to a test lab, the coupons are already prepped. It's really big how you fit the coupon together. A lot of times you can have what we call mismatch, or you can have what we call high-low, which will cause an inconsistency in the way that the pipe is fit up, and will ultimately fail you whenever you're taking a weld test. So he's getting a piece of Langerlearn, and we'll get the piece lined up pretty good to keep our high-low the same, and we'll start laying a root in.
Okay, what's your name?
Mark Wilkins. They go by Dutch.
Okay, Dutch, how long have you been welding?
I took a semester at Glendale Community College about 22 years ago, maybe even 25 years ago. And I wish I'd have kept it up, but I didn't. And so this is kind of getting me back in the groove.
How long have you been coming here?
You know, I met JD probably about a month ago and came out and started doing it with him. Went to the safety class and liked what I heard. And I've learned a lot from him in just the past month. One of the things that I've noticed about JD is that he's very thorough in teaching. Prior classes that I'd taken, they didn't do a lot of explanations, so there was, you know, you did stuff and you just kind of thrown into it, but you didn't understand the theory and the reasons why you did things. Oh. JD's very good at explaining all that.
So you said you've been coming for a month. How many classes has that been?
It's been once a week.
All right, so what we've done now is we got the tacks in. If you can see, that is what the open butt looks like. We've managed to get all the high-low out, and now we're going to proceed to get it tacked up and start rooting it. So regardless of your skill level, we're able to help out. We're able to help you accomplish your welding goals or further down your welding endeavors. We have multiple people that are still out in the field that are able to come in and show us some new tricks to the trade and come in and practice with us. And this is Marquise. He's come in. We've been traveling the road together for about 8 years, and he decided to come over, do a demonstration with us, and we're going to TIG weld some pipe. So position is key with all the welding. You always want to make sure you're in a comfortable spot. You see Keith is getting down, getting comfortable, looking at his weld, coming up with a plan on how he's going to get it done. Technique that he's using is called backfill. He's running his rod in through the top of the joint. The reason that the joint is open is to allow for 100% penetration. That allows for the molten puddle to be able to completely penetrate these two pieces of metal and bring them together as one. You'll be able to look on the inside once we get done running this root here, and you'll be able to see where both of the metals are joined from the pass that we are putting in. The rod that you see that he's holding is the filler metal, and that is the metal that we are using to deposit into the joint to make up and fill that gap. This metal that we are putting in, the filler metal, is rated to be as strong, if not stronger, than this original metal. So although you see that this welding rod is only 332 in diameter, and this coupon here is clearly about a 1/2 inch thick, this welding rod is still capable of putting down a weld that is just as strong as this original base metal. There is a process in the way that AWS requires that it's welded, and if it's done according to those standards, then it will withstand the pressure and whatnot from the original base metal's tensile strength. So we normally like to weld that in 4 spots. That way we're kind of spreading our heat out and getting our heat displacement in different areas to keep from misalignment and bowing and warping and things to that degree due to the heat. Okay, so what he was just mentioning to me was, due to the heat, whenever you're welding, the heat actually pull your joint one way or another. So to maintain an even gap around, you kind of want to start with putting tacks on both sides of the joint in 4 equal spots, so that way your heat won't distort your fit up.
All right, so when I get to the top, towards the sides, the bottom, it's easier to back feed, just letting that gravity go down. But once you get to the sides, I basically just keyhole. Meaning keyholing, meaning when you light the arc, you blow it out and you dab the rod in to fill it. And I'm basically doing the same repeated process to basically sew it up.
All right, so the keyhole process, whenever you apply that heat to this metal here, it's gonna basically cause those walls to disappear, because our welding is causing this metal to be at a molten state. That's whenever we're able to allow more metal to be joined to the original base metal. So you wanna make sure you get it hot enough to where you can penetrate and melt both sides of that metal, but you want to make sure that filler rod is at the proper angle and you have it in the proper place to be able to put it back where it needs to be.
So this is what I mean by like getting comfortable. As you see, kind of well, my left hand right now is good that you're supposed to, but you don't have to all the time. It's just based on what's comfortable for you. So for me, since it's on the table, I'm just gonna lean this way and sew this side up.
So one thing I like to think about welding is there's no right or wrong way or position that you have to be in, but the welding torch has to be in that one position, and that can't be compromised for that weld to be put in the proper way. So as you see here, the weld torch and the filler metal is at the proper angle that it needs to be, although his body's compromised. Doing a good job of keyholing and filling that keyhole with the filler metal. And once you get to the end of that tack, you want to make sure you burn that tack really good and heat that existing metal that you've put in up pretty good, so that way it doesn't create a weak point. You want to make sure you join those two pieces once you get to the end of that pass. So this is the pipe portion of the class. We do have a structural portion where we do bend test and plates and things to that degree. To be able to set you up and get you prepped to go pass a test and get certified. So he's going back in right there. He seen he had a spot that he needed to get back filled in right there. So he got it back warm and got it heated up. One thing I like to think about welding and metal is, regardless of what you've done, you can always fix it. A lot of people are kind of get discouraged and overwhelmed when it comes to welding, but don't get overwhelmed, don't get discouraged. It's what they like to call a window. Whenever a QC normally comes in the field and they want to inspect the root pass. So right now we have the root pass pretty much done. If you look on the inside of here, you'll be able to see penetration from where the weld was put in. And normally you'll leave what's called a window here. That window is for a QA, QC to be able to come look at the weld and take their flashlight and inspect the root pass inside of it. Most times on a coupon you can inspect it from right here, but if we're in the middle of a oil and gas refinery, I mean, there won't be a way to see the inside of the pipe. So they always ask that you leave this window so they can come in and look. So Keith's left the window there. We'll go ahead and close it up and fill and cap it. So we're getting porosity. It's always good to know what you're looking for when you're welding and to have the knowledge to know when something isn't going right. When you know something isn't going right, you're able to get in and you're able to fix it. Go ahead. So when he's talking about porosity, porosity is actually a defective part of a weld that comes from no gas coverage. In stick welding, we have flux that's coated on top of the rod that actually shields the rod from the atmosphere. And in TIG welding, we use an inert gas, which is argon, to shield the puddle from the atmosphere to be able to keep the contaminants out of the puddle. We're back to welding and we'll get her filled up. So with any form of welding, you want to make sure that you have all the impurities and dirt and rust out of the way as much as you can. So in between weld passes, I always like to use a wire weld and run around my weld. So it's all type of tricks to the trade, stuff you'll learn along the way. It's a lot of old guys that we've met along the road who have taught us a lot that we know. Okay, so TIG welding is going to be something that you use indoors. You can't do anything with it outside. A lot of people use it on a lot of precious metals or like a stainless steel or even aluminum. A lot of chrome moly, so a lot of razor cages and stuff to that degree is done with TIG. So a lot of tubular welding is done with a TIG welder. Yeah, a lot of smaller piddle projects. The thing with TIG is It's a lot less cleanup. There's no sparks involved. It doesn't leave any spatter or anything behind for you to clean up. So it's a really clean weld. You can lay it down and it's done as soon as you get finished welding it. Versus stick welding, you have slag on it, or flux core. Even MIG welding, you have sparks which leave spatter. So TIG is just like, they always say you can weld TIG in the white tuxedo sitting down in a chair and leave the same way you came in. So a lot of aerospace, a lot of those types of industries use TIG welding, and a lot of those guys are sitting in a big comfortable chair just welding stuff on a fab table on tubular frames and stuff like that all day. So tell me a little bit about your story, Marquise. Tell me a little bit about your welding story.
All right, so started welding when I was 16 in high school. Funny story, go to show you that anybody can do it. I worked at the McDonald's, and next door I had a fab shop, and I always wondered what was the big pretty lights working at night. So one day I talked to the guy, asked him if they need helpers, and of course asked him if I know how to weld. And I said, yeah, just to try to get the job. So what I did for like a full month, I was watching YouTube videos all day on how to weld, just getting a good visual on what I need to see, because I didn't have the equipment accessible to me. So like I said, I just watched a lot of videos, and on the time to take the weld test, with the MIG test, I ended up passing it. And I basically started my career like that. So I started at 16, making $16 an hour. And the most I've made now is like 49 an hour. So yeah, anybody can do it.
All right, so we're back here. Hopefully we don't get any porosity. We broke the torch down to kind of check and see if we had any issues with our gas lens, to see why we were getting porosity and not getting good gas coverage. It looks like now we're getting good gas coverage. All right, we're gonna turn the heat up a little bit. All right, so he's asking for more heat right now. He ran his root pass at 1 heat, and as you've seen it was an open butt. And you've seen that, of course, it had a gap in it. So less heat is gonna allow for that metal to fall in and sit in without it completely falling away. However, now that we've gotten the root pass in, we gotta make sure when we're putting this next pass in that we're completely melting that base, that root pass to where they're one piece of metal. So we had to get a little bit more heat because we got more metal that we're melting now. And that's normally how it works. You turn your heat up a little bit after your root pass and filling cap, and she'll be good to roll. So TIG welding, like Dutch was just asking me, it's really good for projects that you want really clean welds on. It is a little bit more complex of a welding process because you're trying to control 2 or 3 different things at one time. With MIG welding, it's more of a squeeze the button and an automatic feed of your electrode, which feeds your puddle. Stick welding is more of manual because you're using one hand to push the electrode in as it's burning. TIG weld, using both hands and sometimes a foot pedal to determine your heat with your foot, and you have to keep your heat in the right spot, and you're pushing in your filler metal as you're welding. So it's 3 different things going on at one time. And it really helps when you have a thorough understanding or a very good basic understanding of welding in itself. So,
And also, y'all, if you mess with your tungsten, don't get discouraged. It happens to the best of us. It can be from different reasons, like no gas coverage, it'll throw porosity, it'll burn your tungsten. If you touch the puddle, it'll mess with the tungsten. Another key thing, if you ever touch the tungsten on your weld, you want to grind that out, because on the x-ray it'll show as tungsten inclusion, and that will show up as a dark spot on your x-ray. So a trick, you can do it by hand, you can do it by drill, easiest by drill. Put your tungsten in the drill, take your grinder or something like that, start it.
so he's running his flush pass in, and he's staying just inside of his bevel. His bevel is the part that you see that was angled to allow for all of his filler metal to fit inside of there. Just like I was saying earlier, we have a smaller diameter wire, and you see the pipe is as thick as it is. But this is the process in which you use to properly fill that gap, so whenever it's a finished product, it'll be just as strong as that original piece of pipe. So I think he's using a technique from what my eyes are showing me is walking the cup. And basically he's just using that cup and the pipe to keep his steps up the pipe in a consistent manner as he walks up. So you heard him a little bit earlier talk about freehanding. This is another technique that we use called walking the cup. Yeah, so that's normally a thing that we've been getting from a lot of the people taking some sessions with us when it comes to being able to see, because you know, for those who haven't welded, whenever that arc is struck, your welding lens basically goes dark, and you're only able to see the arc and what's going on with the weld. So a lot of times you think you can't see what you need to see, but once you get tuned in on what you're looking at, you'll be able to see that you see everything you need to see to put down a really nice weld. So with walking this cup and putting this cap pass on, you want to be really careful with how much metal you're depositing, because just like you can have too less of metal, you can also have too much of a cap. All right, so we'll get started here on some MIG welding, and we'll see if we get to some stick welding today. So what I'm doing is I'm tacking up some coupons, and we're gonna let Dutchy weld. And what I wanted to do was kind of show you guys what all we do on the just outside of the pipe welding. We're getting set up here. We're gonna do a little MIG welding, possibly a little stick welding. We'll see where we go. But normally whenever we come to do a weld session, I like to prepare all the students with 4 joints. That'll be your butt joint, your lap joint, corner joint, and a T-joint. And we weld all of these joints in all of the positions that we like to call in welding, meaning we'll be welding them in the flat position, the horizontal position, an overhead position, and a vertical position. We go through the machine. We start with the machine, start with the rod, start with the electrodes, go all the way down to what it takes to get the rods out here or the wire to here, and the settings on the machine. We thoroughly believe that if you're able to get a consistent weld on a 4-inch coupon, you'll be set up to knock out whatever project or whatever weld it is that you come in front of. Dutch here has been welding with us for about a month. We started welding with some MIG flux core wire. We started with a butt weld. It actually started as a pad weld, and we started with trying to get our start consistent, trying to keep our weld width the same, and trying to keep it pretty consistent across. We've worked on quite a bit, and we've got Dutch here to do some demonstration on some MIG welding. I don't just turn you loose in the weld booth and burn off and go find something else to do. I stick right here with you. I may allow you to weld on your own. But while I do believe practice, I do believe if we're practicing the right things, we're able to build something that we're proud of. So that's what we're gonna do, and we got 2 sides of each coupon, so we'll start. I'll watch him weld one side, and then I'll let him weld the other side like we normally do during the lesson, and we'll go from there. Good. Good. All right, so we're gonna start with a butt joint here, and Dutch is just gonna run it across there, and we're gonna see where we're at. All right, go ahead and stop, Dutch. Remember, get it started. Go back up there, get back on that line.
Do you think you'd do better with pushing rather than pulling? Because the puddle's behind.
All right, now we're back cooking. We're back in the lab. Normally Dutch is like an old school diesel. He's got that wait to start light that blinks on, and once he gets started, he's good to go. So I think we got that wait to light start blinking, and we're back to welding. So he's staying in that puddle. At first we were kind of having an issue staying in the puddle. He's doing really good walking it across there. We did get a little bit zigzaggy there. So we'll flip it over. Dutch needs a warm up. Hold on. We'll make another warm up weld here. Watch out, everybody. All right, Dutch. We'll get another warm up weld over here. Where's that soapstone?
You showed him how to push it. I think he'll see it better if he push it rather than pull it.
Kinda. So the issue that I've been kind of noticing with seeing is like, so when we get right here, we got the nozzle to where it's like this and we can't see. So if we angle it more like here, we'll be able to see the puddle and see where we're welding. So
And my body position helps too.
yeah, so instead of having it more so like here, try and just angle it to here to where you can see that stick out and watch your puddle walk down it. There we go. Stay up there now. Good, right in there. Just a little bit faster. You can move a little bit faster, not too much. Don't step out too much further. Just move just a touch faster. There you go. Right in there. Good. Good. Way better. Watch that molten puddle come across there. There you go. All right. Good. All right, so we're going to just do one more eyeballs, everybody. We're going to run one more across here. This is normally, this is like the flat position. We're focusing on keeping that angle in there, focusing on our starts, keeping our width the same size. A lot of times, like I said earlier, we say what we can't see until we realize what only we need to see. So it's very important to kind of have everything at that torch at the proper angle. So you'll be able to see that molten puddle and be able to manipulate it the way that you need to. But looks like he's remembering what we kind of went over last week. He's staying in the puddle really good. He's walking that puddle down. I like to talk about like walking the kids down the street. A lot of times we end up leaving that puddle behind, but it's very important that we keep that puddle good and fluid, nice and liquid, so that we get a nice, good, even heat dispersion and feel across our weld joint. So this one here is going to look really good. This is normally probably the one he would weld when I'm not watching, but I just happen to be watching this time, and it looks really good. This was the first one that we done. We kind of missed the joint quite a bit. There's no real full weld bead going across. Second one, we made quite a bit more improvement. We got more of a consistent weld going across. It's a little bit more together and uniform. And the third one, look where we're at. We got quite a bit more uniform across there. We got a good feel across there, good heat dispersion across there. That's what it's all about.
That little interaction where you start and then he'll stop, give you some critique, and then you kind of go again, and then sometimes he'll let you just make the mistake. And then he'll say, okay, what did you see that you needed to improve on? And he'll give some additional feedback to where you know what you're doing and you feel more comfortable with it. And then you still feel his breath in your ear. But like you said, sometimes he'll just walk away and let you do and feel like nobody's watching you, and so I can concentrate on what I'm doing, not worrying about what he's thinking. What is he going to stick? Is he going to tap me on the shoulder, on the hip, and say, "Hey, you're screwing up," or you kind of see what you did, and then afterwards it's like, "Hey, look at that." Oh.
That is a Dutch thing too. Whenever he makes that weld that he's proud of, he likes to stick that chest out, so you know when it's a good weld.
Teacher's going to approve of that one, yeah.
All right, Dutch, what's the next joint we're welding? This is going to be our guideline, and just walk it down there. Stay in your puddle just like we did with the butt, and keep that angle of your torch to where you can see your puddle. Good. Good. All right, so less time on the bottom. So we're just on the bottom to tie into it, a little bit further out. Remember, you want to keep a good angle, so come out a little bit further. Yep. Yep. All right, stay in your puddle a little bit more. There you go. Yeah. Now back down.
That's perfect, Doug.
Back down.
That's perfect.
Yep. Back down. Yep. Back down. Yep. Good. 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 Way to watch that top. Hell yeah, Dutch. That look good.
Dutch, you a natural, man.
Good.
I'll see you later, Marky.
How long have you been welding?
I've been welding for about 14 years now, professionally.
What made you get started?
I think it was more the art side of wanting to build certain things. I originally wanted to be an engineer when I was growing up and wanted to build structures, and got into fabrication and really kind of fell in love with like whatever's in my mind I'm able to bring into the world.
Why did you start teaching it?
Well, I started teaching it right after I graduated from welding school, and I was helping a lot of the students that were in welding school, and I knew how to weld before I got to welding school. So I was able to kind of progress through the curriculum a little bit more faster than a lot of the students, and I was able to start helping some of the students while we were still in welding school, which kind of opened the door to the instructor offering me an assistant instructor position with the college.
I have never welded a day in my life. I've never been around anything. Am I able to take your class?
Absolutely. We have beginners all the way from 18 years of age all the way to 50 years of age. There's no experience needed to take the course. We start all the way from the basics and we build from there. We have clients that are just looking to pursue hobby art, down to DIY repairs, and also we have some youngsters that are looking to build a career. So no experience is needed, and whatever it is that you're looking to do with it, we're able to set you up for success.
What made you want to start giving lessons?
To be able to make learning affordable. A lot of the welding schools that you look up, they are $10,000, $20,000, but we wanted to offer a platform that somewhat working person can be able to afford. 3 years ago when I came to Arizona, it's always been a dream of mine to learn how to rope and ride a horse. And I found a guy who I started taking lessons from, Riley Cameron. It was just amazing to look back and see how much I've learned, how far I came, how much confidence I've gotten, and ultimately I can do what I've been dreaming about doing for 30 years and not have anybody over my shoulder. So I like to translate and correlate that with welding because, you know, it doesn't take 6 months, 8 hours a day to learn how to weld. It just takes someone who knows how to weld to be able to show you what you're doing wrong and help you fix what your problems may be. Thank you for joining us today and learning more about our welding program and what we have to offer. We have a ton of experience and we'd be happy to share it with you. Come over and see us today and give us a call and find out more about welding.